These are your hard facts. What a weekend. What a weekend. I don't even know where to start. Now, let me start by saying that I am back in the studio, Lagos. I must love you because I walked from Lekki Phase 1 roundabout to Etimiyan Crescent just to give you hard facts. Me, a baby girl. Oh gosh. I walked in the hot sun as a yellow reach. Hey God, I must love you. I really must love you. But you love me right back, don't you? That's why you keep telling more and more people to listen to me. In August, 674,000 of you tuned in. That's a new record for me. So thank you, Lagos, for telling everybody to tell everybody else to listen to Hard Facts on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Well, like I said, there's a lot happening. Of course, the reason that I had to walk was the End SARS protests. The protesters are still blockading the Tollgate, and the protests are going on all over the country. And the government has been responding and reacting in a lot of ways. That's all we're going to talk about from now until morning crossfire today, and the coverage of protests continues right here on Hard Facts. At 4, we'll take a quick break, and we'll bring you the second ever episode of Madam Landlord. We're still asking if you think Madam Landlord should extend rent agreements because of COVID-19 and the lockdown. We're going to look at the challenges that Madam Landlord herself is facing. That conversation coming up at 4. On the big hard fact, we'll go back to the protests. Let's talk some more about the End SARS protests. I'll tell you what is happening at the moment, and we'll talk about all things that happened over the weekend. Get news updates at the top of the hour every hour. You also need to listen for just a minute. Will come your way at any point during the show. The only way you catch it is paying attention. But right now, let's put today's big 3.
The Big on Hard Facts
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
A lot of things happened over the weekend, but first, let's talk about what is happening right now. In Edo State, the government just declared a curfew. It starts in less than an hour from now, at 4 o'clock. The government says that there's been violence in the state today, but there's disagreement about who is behind the violence. There's hoodlums pretending to be End SARS protesters attacking people and vandalizing places. Protesters are saying there's no hand in the violence and that these are thugs sent to sabotage the protests and discredit the protests. In fact, the protesters are saying that they are not the streets today in Benin. By the way, there is now violence in the state and the government has ordered a curfew. Now, we're also getting reports of prison break in Edo State. The police are claiming that protesters released the prisoners. And again, the protesters are saying that this is not true. We've seen videos that claim to be from the prison break. Now, we can't say for a fact what are these indeed showing the prison, but the people putting the videos online as it is. And they're saying that it is to let the prisoners out. Other people are pointing out that in the videos, the prison gates have not been broken. They've been opened. And they appear to have been opened from inside. And then there's also the question of what prison guards are doing. What were they doing? On Saturday, peaceful protesters in Anambra marched to the SARS station in Okozo. There's a video, and I'm showing it to you right now on our Facebook live feed. There's a video of the march, first of all, and then of police officers shooting them. If you're watching on Facebook, Nigeria Info 99.3, Nigeria Info FM on YouTube, you see a video of policemen shooting in the air at peaceful protesters. That's a police station in Okozo. So lots of Nigerians are asking if police were willing to shoot at peaceful protesters, how likely is it that they would allow a crowd to overrun and liberate a prison, which is a crime? Let me read you a tweet by Pascal Akome. He said, quote, "I have visited this prison twice during outreaches. There are 4 gates before this main one that you see. Each of them are really gigantic structures. How did they open all 4 of them to gain access to the prisoners? Something does not add up here." End quote. We're also hearing from people who know how prisons work in Nigeria, and they are saying, according to standard protocol, once there is a protest on the streets, prison wardens order a full lockdown. That means every inmate is locked in their cell. So even if someone reopens a gate, someone opens 4 main gates, how will they open all the cells to release all the prisoners? Others are pointing out that in 2012, for the Oko prison break, they needed explosives to breach the prison, and people got out. So that's food for thought for you. Now, the police in Edo are also saying that protesters raided 3 stations and carried away arms and ammunition. Ubeku police station, Oba Market police station, and Idobo police post. But again, the protesters are saying that it's not true. Yet again, some observers are asking, how did unarmed protesters carrying phones, carrying placards, overrun 3 police stations without the police shooting them? Especially since we have confirmed cases of police shooting protesters even when they were peaceful. Now let's move from Edo State to the FCT. The Punch is reporting that the army has taken over various roads, junctions and key locations where protesters have been gathering. The paper says soldiers are deployed in parts of 3 Arms Zone, Ralph Shudende Street and Goodluck Jonathan Expressway, from AYA roundabout to Central Bank headquarters. Now remember, over the weekend, protesters marched to CBN headquarters and camped there. It happened on Sunday. So observers are wondering why. Because remember that both the president and the vice president have gone on the record to say that peaceful protests are okay. So some Nigerians are wondering, why is the army now blockading the places where the protesters have been meeting? There's no official statement from the army yet, but remember, over the weekend, Lai Mohammed made a comment. The information minister, he said the government will no longer fold its arms and watch the protests. He said that in a TV interview. If you're watching us on Facebook at the moment, we're going to play that footage. But if you're not watching, here it is.
The first demand was that all former personnel disbanded SARS must undergo psychological and medical evaluation, retraining before they are redeployed in the services of the police. Now, on the 11th of October, the Inspector General of Police announced the dissolution of all SARS in every state of the Federation and the FCT. On the 12th of October, Mr. President himself personally intervened in the End SARS protest when he said the disbanding of the SARS is only the first step in the comprehensive reform of the Nigerian police, and that this reform will not end until every policeman and security officer understands that their first and primary mandate is the protection of lives and livelihood. And he said further that all those who are found to have abused their office would certainly be made to account. On the 13th of October, the IGP invited all former personnel of SARS to the headquarters to submit themselves for debriefing and also for medical evaluation, which is a prelude to retraining them, reorientation, and then dispersing them into other police units in this country. Other than SARS, which has exactly. On the 15th of October, the National Economic Council resolved that with immediate effect, all state governments should set a judicial panel of inquiry to investigate all cases of abuse or extrajudicial killing by the police in all the states of the Federation and FCT, and that the composition of that panel will include representatives of the youth, civil society organization, students, and to be chaired by a retired state high court judge of repute. The next one further to say that each state government must also put in place a special security and a human rights a panel that will oversee the conduct of the newly set up Police Special Tactical Unit. Again, the composition of that unit includes youth CSOs and the commander of the state tactical unit. Finally, the NEC mandated every state government to take control and initiate contact and dialogue.
Lai Mohammed there talking about what the government has done to meet the demands of the protesters, and also saying that government will no longer fold its arm and watch the protests. So some Nigerians are wondering whether the deployment of the army based on Mr. Mohammed's statement. Meanwhile, we're also getting reports from Abuja that police officers are using tear gas against protests. If you're watching on Facebook, you're seeing that footage as well of police officers firing tear gas into a crowd of protesters. Now, up until today, we've not heard any report of violence by protesters in Abuja. So far, we've seen live on TV soldiers assault protesters. We've also seen police use water cannons and tear gas on the protesters weekend before last. Now we're hearing about tear gas again today, and if you're watching on Facebook, you can see that for yourself. Now, I should point out that the president and vice president have both said protesters have a right to that peacefully. And they've also said that told security agencies to let them protest peacefully. The IG, in fact, a press statement earlier last week saying to the police all over the country, stop fighting protesters. Why are we still seeing police tear gassing protesters? Why are we still talking protesters? What do you think about what's happening in Abuja? How come there seems to be a difference between what the president asking the police to do, the IG is asking us to do, and what they seem to be doing? What do you think about what happened in Edo State today? 07093 99393. You can also talk to us via WhatsApp. It's 080 959 75805. 959 75805. Tweet at us at Nigeria Info first. Give your thoughts on Facebook, Nigeria Info 9.3, and definitely the live studio if you'd prefer. Happy on the line. Happy, how are you? Thanks for calling us.
I'm calling on what she's saying now about firing tear gas on the protesters.
Yeah, Sandra now. Go ahead.
Can you remember what happened at Yaba today?
I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
I saw where some protesters attacked RR vehicle. I think they were going to why they attacked them. And of the RR's personnel, some policemen inside the patrol vehicle. This patrol vehicle they used to carry RR's policemen. They attacked on their way.
Yes, I saw I saw that video as well, and the young I saw throwing bottles and were not carrying placards and say that they were protesters. So those could have.
But that is bad. For them to be attacking
Of
police.
course, it is bad.
Like I heard, they bought so many police stations. Sorry.
Happy?
I'm from Edo State. That's very wrong.
P, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still on.
Yes. Now, what we are debating is whether or not the protesters did it. I'm telling you, the protesters are saying they did not do it, but you called in to say protesters did it.
I think if they are going that way, they should stop them.
Are
They should
protests
stop
going
them.
on the other way, or are
If
doing
they are
it?
attacking, if they are
Thank you for calling me. Because, I mean, it's one thing to call and say, did you not see where protesters were attacking the police? Protesters have said that they did not attack the police. We saw those footage for ourselves. We saw young men carrying weapons and stone arrest trucks in what appears to be lab. And those young men were not protesters. Are you calling authorities? Go on, hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for going.
Yeah, madam, how are you? How work and everything?
Very well, thank you. Go ahead.
I hope you didn't tire too much that break, right?
No, it's good exercise.
Yeah, good exercise for you big people like you, you know. Yeah, and then about the protest, I think everything has the beginning and has the end. I think that the process has to go on because I'm in supporting the protest because
Okay.
the bad governance in Nigeria is invariable.
Okay.
It's unbearable actually.
Okay.
But I think we need to go for break for now
Okay.
and then give the government chance and see whether they implement it or not.
Okay.
So then after some time, if they're not implementing, we'll go back to the street. I think that's better because the way it's going, if you go like this, the government will use the opportunity, maybe some bad egg among the protest to go and cause some mayhem, and then the government will use that opportunity to come down on everybody and spoil everything. So because we should just go to break, I think so.
Okay.
Later we'll come back.
All
Okay?
right, Mohammed.
Thank you.
So much for calling. I appreciate it. We'll take another call. 99.3.
Hello,
Thanks for calling. What's your name?
my name is Jeff. I'm calling from Ogudu.
Welcome, Jeff. Go ahead.
Well, for Sandra, well, I'm a first-time caller.
Good to have you on the show. Go ahead.
All right, is this issue of someone coming in, they saw some people stoning police vehicle? I don't think it's true. Protesters are not doing that. I've been to Victoria Land today. I've been to Yaba. I've been to Surulere. I've been to National Stadium. I've been to Water, and I'm currently in Ogudu. There is no place where you find protesters stoning any police vehicle. That's not true. And then secondly, we hear that the president asked for policemen not to tear gas people. They devised the same thing, and yet these same policemen are still going ahead and tear gassing people. It means that who is really ruling with the country? Who has authority? If at this same moment, this same critical time that we're in, the police is still defying the authority of the number one and number two cities of this country, it just tells you we have not started anything yet. For me, I encourage the protest. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for calling us. We'll take one final call. I'll tell you what's happening in Kano. 99.3. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name?
This is Emmanuel.
Manuel. Good time on the show.
Yeah, I fully support the protest, and I believe that the protest must go on. And then there's another thing. What this president, there's no talk, and then his statement in water. Anytime there is anything, this president is fond of doing the opposite. So the protest should go. Then one thing that this government go underground to instigate violence in order to give the protesters a bad day. So please, God will be with us.
Thank you for calling. If you just joined the show, hello. I told you that in Edo, the government just declared a coup. It starts in less than an hour from now at 4 o'clock. Government says there's been violence in the state, but there's been agreement. Who is behind the violence? Government says hoodlums pretending to be End SARS protesters attacking people and vandalizing this. Protesters are saying that they have violence and that these are thugs being sent to sabotage and discredit tests. Protesters are even saying, in fact, they haven't even been on the streets today. But either way, there's violence in the state and the government has a curfew. Now, I also told there was a prison break in it. The police are claiming that has released the prisoners. Protesters are saying that this is not true. We've seen videos that claim to be from the break, and we can't say for a fact that these videos are indeed in the prison in Benin. Now, people putting the videos online are saying that it's the prison in Benin, and they say protesters let the prisoners out. Other people who are watching the videos are pointing out that gates are not broken. They have been opened, and that they appear to have been opened from the side. Now, I told you about protesters going to Okwozo to go and protest at the SARS center in Okwozo. And there's a video of officers shooting at these protesters. And lots of people have talked about visiting that prison in Edo State and talked about how it's almost impossible for protesters to gain entrance into the prison. So how come this is happening? You're listening to Hard Facts on 99.0 Info. It's 26 minutes. We'll take a quick break and then bring you more talk, more conversation right here, 99.3 Info. Sandra Ezekwesili, don't go away.
Millennium. See your head. You're equilibrium. How come you still remember these things? Haven't you been attending daily lessons on Wazobia Max TV? Daily lessons on Wazobia Max?
Yeah, that's This is the Big Three
On Hard Facts.
on 99.9 Info.
Now, from a state to the FC, The Punch is reporting Army has taken over various roads. I told you that earlier on, and you've called about what exactly is happening there. Now, I told you that I'll talk to you Kano's tests. In Kano, protesters are back on the street in big numbers, and they're claiming police killed an innocent yesterday, an innocent boy, after taking him home. Is Saifullah. He was 17 years old, a man. And he was at home last night, movie on his phone, when police storm took him away. Police did not say he was being taken away. He was a laundryman, by the way. Some small business. And now this morning contacted his family and told them to pick up his body at the hospital. Now this story has made the rhino, and so people are on the streets and they're not demanding justice. And this brings up the question of whether or not the police are reading the room. Because like I said, you have the president saying the police should take it easy. We have the Senate president and the speaker saying government single people. You have the G giving directives to the police, relax. And yet, we're still seeing these stories from all over the country.